I said this yesterday about the Knicks. They're a regular season team. If you play hard,
that's right.
you can win half your games. But everybody plays hard in the playoffs. And they'll be exposed. But I will say this. For the first time in 20 years, I like watching them. I kind of feel like there's something. The house has a foundation. Well, your thoughts on them overall?
Well, my thoughts on them are if they happen to move back up to the 4 and get Atlanta in round 1, then they could win a playoff series. They could beat Atlanta. Anyone else they play in round 1, they're drawing dead against. Whether it's Miami, Milwaukee, or Brooklyn, they've got no shot. However, what is more, and it's a great job by Thibodeau, great job by Derrick Rose, and Julius Randle's having a phenomenal season. Where the Knicks matter to the bigger NBA landscape is this. If you watched that game yesterday, Colin, that's what they do to everyone. They beat the hell out of you. And if you are Milwaukee or Brooklyn and you have real championship aspirations, the difference between getting the Knicks in round 1 versus Charlotte or Atlanta or one of the other teams you could get coming out of the play-in, moving up to 7, is massive. The Knicks are going to take a hunk of flesh out of whomever they play. So all of a sudden, that 3 seed is not as attractive as it otherwise would be. Like, it's going to be very interesting to see where the Knicks fall, because whomever they play, whomever beats the Knicks in round 1 is going to be going into round 2 limping a bit, and I think that's going to matter.
You know, it's funny. I hear all these Laker fans, oh, we don't want the Warriors. And I'm like, the Warriors are a tiny team. The Lakers at Drummond, they're a huge team. I would like the Lakers in that matchup. But in your opinion, are you concerned about the Lakers in a one-game situation if LeBron's back and AD? Are you concerned about a play-in game for them?
No. I don't think the Lakers are going to end up in the play-in, because I think Portland's about to lose 2 out of 3 and the Lakers will slide to the 6. But when LeBron comes back, he doesn't look immediately fully functional. If it looks like he's going to need some time to ramp up, not only am I not worried about the play-in, I would argue the play-in could be preferable than going into the playoffs as the 6th seed and facing the Clippers in round 1. You know, I did not at all believe in the Clippers last year, and while I don't believe in them as a championship team this year, they are better than they were last year. And people are like, oh, the play-in, there is no concern of the play-in. The Warriors would have to beat you, and then the Spurs or Grizzlies would have to beat you 2 days later. That's not happening. I think the bigger concern is if Schroeder's just getting back off the COVID list, if AD is, still dealing with little nicks and bruises, and LeBron doesn't have his wind yet, and immediately in the first round of the playoffs, if you're the 6th seed, you get the Clippers, that could be tough. I think what would be preferable to that is staying at the 7, waxing the Warriors or the Grizzlies in the one-game play-in, and then you get Phoenix or you get Utah, neither of which can deal with the Lakers. So that's the long way of saying the play-in does not concern me in the least. I think it actually might be preferable in some circumstances.
Listen, I never get more hate mail than when I criticize Tim Tebow. And I said yesterday, it's time for somebody to tell Tim, it's time to get a real job. Like,
right.
Baseball was fun, football was great. Like, you've been out of the league 8 years. Go be a broadcaster. You're terrific at that. That's my takeaway on the Tebow thing. He's a nice kid. Everybody feels like, oh, I'd like my daughter to marry Tim Tebow. But this is like folly, right? Like, you don't buy the Tebow thing to the Jags.
Colin, you said he's a nice kid. He's my age. And, Colin, if I had been out of broadcasting for a decade and I called you up, you're my Urban Meyer, and I'm like, Colin, I think I got to get back into the game. I need you to give me a gig. Do you know what you would do as a friend? You'd say, Nick, the dream's over, buddy. You had a good run, or maybe you didn't. But either way, this is not, at some point you got to get a real job. And at some point, you've got to move on past what was your childhood dream. My 7-year-old, God love her, these days this will make you laugh. She doesn't want to be an actress. She wants to be a YouTuber. And so good for her. Maybe that'll work out. But if when she's 35, she's like, Dad's still going to be a YouTuber, and I say, honey, you gotta get a real job now. What you said yesterday is spot on. And you know Urban far better than I do, but I have massive respect for Urban Meyer. I'm shocked he's doing this. Jacksonville, to me, had great momentum. They hired the right coach, and they got the lottery ticket of Trevor Lawrence, the winning lottery ticket of Trevor Lawrence. Why they are acting like this is a literal minor league baseball team, and you've got to bring in the little person to take at bats and then the 7-footer to take at bats to draw fans into the stands. This is the NFL. And so I'm surprised by this. I don't get it. I have no reason to believe he'll be good at it. And it just doesn't seem like something Jacksonville, which finally had some positive momentum, needed to do.
Yeah, I think the reason you hired Urban Meyer was to feel bigger, and this makes him feel smaller. Finally.
Yeah, I agree entirely.
Yeah, I like Cleveland this year. I do not like them at all with 9 new defensive starters at Arrowhead week 1. I think it's the one game I looked at and I thought, good God, if there was one game Cleveland didn't want, you wouldn't mind playing New England week 1. Belichick struggles in September. You wouldn't have minded that Packer game week 1 because it seems like Aaron Rodgers resents the organization. Browns Chiefs week 1. I imagine you like Kansas City in this one?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll do win-loss like you do win-loss, and it's going to be hard for me to find a loss for the Chiefs. They're angry. They got the new left tackle. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to go undefeated, but preliminarily speaking, probably 16-1 with them resting people in week 17. Yeah, anybody that had to come to Arrowhead week 1, it was going to be tough.
Yeah.
The Browns, what I will say for the Browns is this. Their last experience in Arrowhead, while it was a playoff loss, it's not like they got totally outclassed in that game. Now, Mahomes went down, which changed the trajectory of it. But I actually think that can be here's why I think it can be a good thing for Cleveland. If everyone can agree the road to the Super Bowl goes through Arrowhead, which since Mahomes has been there, that's the case. They've gone to 2, and the one they didn't get to, Brady beat them in Arrowhead. You get to see how close you are. Immediately, week 1, you get to see, all right, we're measuring ourselves against the best in our conference. Where do we need to get better? Where are we already good? What are our deficiencies? And then we hope to see you again 4 months from now. So I don't think it's the only terrible outcome possible is if the Browns somehow win, and that's a terrible outcome for you. I'll be fine. The Chiefs will be fine. For Colin, if Baker, after winning a playoff game, probably fresh off a new contract, goes into Arrowhead, Joy, you better be ready to step in because first Monday of the NFL season, Uncle Colin might have the Baker flu. Might miss a Monday NFL show for the first time in years. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Either do I. First of all, Mahomes in September. Not only is he 10-0, what was the number?
32-0 touchdowns, interceptions.
God,
32 touchdowns, no picks. He's a good player. He's a good player. Yeah. I think he's going to do well.
All right, buddy. Good seeing you, Nick Wright. All right. Great
Bye.
stuff. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.